So when we finished last time, we had our 850 breakpoint, which means we move this down, and when it hits 850, you can see that the contact changes. And we also had some changes to our crew. Now these are up and down rather than side by side. Not much of a change because it was already up and down. And let's go on down. And let's do, I always try to make it an even number, 550. So there's 550. Yeah, 550 looked, let's do 575. How's that? 575. Sometimes, especially when you have a lot of data like we have here, a lot of different elements, it's best to ballpark it rather than try to be, okay, so that looks okay, that looks okay, that looks okay. So except for this right here, and we're gonna have to fix that a little bit later. Maybe it's the last thing we do. All right, so we have our breakpoint, and we said that was what, 575. So let's go in and make our next media query. And the easy way to do that is just to copy this, paste it in, and we said 575. And then I'm going to put a close brace. Don't forget to add that or you're going to have problems. And then here will be the end of 570, whoops, 575 pixels. Okay, slash. And now we're ready to go ahead and start making things. Now, when we get to here, things shouldn't be side by side. So this is the header, right? We're going to start with the header and let's move our way down. So let's get up here. So here's the header. That yada, yada, yada. This is the issue right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab everything that's starting with header, figure, image, and article. I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to paste it into our media query. And then I'll tab it over. Okay, that's why I comment this down here to make sure that I don't mess up and have an extra brace. So this is perfect. At 575, we want all to do all this. But let's see, what do we want to change? We don't, let's see, float to the right with 30%, margin 20 up and down. We're going to go ahead and keep that 20. So I'm going to comment this out. I want it to be always that. Border radius 50%. And that border, always want to have that. So I'm going to comment that out. So I comment as I go. So that, and then at the end, everything's working. I delete everything I've commented. But this way we can uncomment it if things go sideways. All right, so we know we have width 100%, width 30%, width 60%, and we're floating left and right. So now what we have to do is get rid of the floats. So let's go back up here. All right, so header figure, I don't want it floating to the right. So I'm going to do Control/. For the width, I'm going to make this 80% and see how it looks. And we said we're going to keep the margin. For the image is going to take up 100%, which is 80%. And everything else stays the same. And then we don't want to do any of this. So I'm going to go ahead and comment that out completely. Let's go back down to header, figure, image, down in a media query. I can't remember what I did with that. So a lot of up and downs with 100%. I'm going to go ahead and move this and see what happens. So we're not touching that. So this is going to stay the same. We're going to get rid of the float. We're going to make it wider. let's see what happens when we do this. We'll do File, Save All, and refresh. All right. So we haven't broken anything. Let's go down below. 575. Oh, there you go. So 575, you can see now things are stacking and everything stays fine until we break again right about here. Everything breaks again. So that's working fine. And we know it works fine out here. So now what we're ready to do is we need to come down and do the same thing for that. Okay, so that's the About section. So let's look at here. That doesn't make a difference. The About section is white. We don't care about that. But the float is the problem. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and copy these three again. I'm going to move it down to my media query. And then I'm going to tab them over. All right. So I want to keep the margin, so I'm not going to get rid of that. I'm going to keep the width. I'm going to keep that. So that's the only one right there that we can get rid of it. We can keep at the top and get rid of these other two. So let's go back up to the top. Okay, we're going to get rid of this. We don't want it floating anymore. And we don't want this. Uh-oh. Danger, Will Robinson. Why is this white? See, there's your problem. You have to be careful. See how that turned white? That tells me something's wrong. And what's wrong is I can't comment out the close. I have an open one. I have a closed one. So when things turn white, you got to watch it. Something's wrong, and you need to stop what you're doing and figure out why. And what happened was I commented out the close brace. Now, I could have commented out the whole thing, which is fine. But for now, let's just leave it the way it is. Let's see if this works. File, Save All. Let's move it out. So the first thing I do is I test it on the old way to make sure it hasn't broken, and it has not. And then we move it in to past 575 and see what happens. Boom. And you can see that now they stack and they're fine all the way through until we break it in navigation again. But here's home. Here's about. All right, so everything's working. Next thing we need to do is sandwiches. So let's go down to up to sandwiches and say, okay, well, what's making them stack? And we can see that's this right here. Let's see, margin 15. We might have to change that, but for now, let's just grab this and we'll copy that. Okay, this is the inline block 25% that's causing it to go side by side. And we'll find our 525. There it is. And again, I'm keeping everything in order. I'm doing top down. And then I'll select this and tab it over. All right. Now, vertical align top. That won't make a difference. Margin. Background color. So the only thing that I want to keep, that I want to change above, so I'll comment this out. Ah, see, it didn't comment. And that's because of this light blue. In fact, what I'm going to do is keep that. There we go. Now we can, oop, be careful, don't grab that bottom brace. That's what happened last time. There we go. So above 525, wherever it is, above 575, I want it to be inline block and 25%. So let's go up here now. And sandwiches, here it is. And let's see what happens when we get rid of that. So remember down there, we commented down here. Here, we're going to comment up here. Let's see what it looks like. I'll do File, Save All. Again, I bring it out first to make sure I haven't broken it. All right, no breaking. Then we'll bring it into 575. Whoa. All right, a little bit big here, but I'm going to call meh on it. We could probably reduce the size of those pictures, but they're going to keep reducing down. But you can see now, home, about, everything's still working. I'm not going to pick on those pictures. I probably would reduce them if I was going to be really picky about it, but that's fine. So the sandwiches are fine, and now we need to go down and do the same thing for our crew. So we'll come down to crew, and what is causing it? This is causing the problem. So let's go ahead and copy this. Move on down to our 575, and at the very end, paste in, fix the tabbing. Okay, I want to keep these two things always. So I'll comment them out. And then we'll go back up to where that is. That's section crew article. Contact section crew article. And what we want to do is get rid of this. I think the image is going to be too big, but let's see. Let's do File, Save All, and refresh. Again, bring it out here first. And then refresh. All right, we didn't break it. Let's bring it in. And yeah, that's another meh. Those are awful big. But again, we can bring it. What did we do down here? We had 200 pixels. Down here it was 200 pixels in width. Section article. So let's do this. Come on. No. Let's fix it this way. And we'll bring this down here. That's good. And then up here, crew, we'll bring this to 200 pixels again. File, save all. Whew. Okay. Bring it out. Refresh. Okay, haven't broken it. All right. I don't like that. Why is it going? Why is it wrapping? Let's do this. Let's do 80%. Look at that. File, save all, and refresh. Okay, so that's, yeah. That wrapping part I don't like. Let's just go back to 100%. We're running out of time. File, save all, refresh. There we go. So we got big pictures of the people. That's fine. And then it gets smaller when we come out here. All right, that's 15 minutes on this one. I know it was difficult probably for you to keep track of me scrolling up and down. Just remember what we're doing. When we want to make things small, we want to set things at the small screen, we have to set it up here. So this is below 525. So we have to find out what we want to change, and then we copy it. See how all these are starting to be commented out? And then what we'll do is at the very end, we will delete all the comments out because then everything's going to be working 100%. All right, on to our next media query in the next lesson.